Okay. You all set? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Joe Montoya. I'm Division Chief of Investigations for the Denver Police Department. Spelling on my last name is Montoya. I'm here to talk about the officer-involved shooting that occurred on May 30th, Sunday, at approximately 3:08 p.m. On that date, officers received a call stemming from the 1300 block of West Alameda on an individual that entered this store armed with what they thought was either a shotgun or a rifle. They described slung over the back, and the party requested some items from that store. The party then left the store without paying for the items, at which time they reported this incident to police. They described the party as a black male wearing a blue plaid shirt, again with a rifle or a shotgun slung over the back. This call came into dispatch at 3:05 p.m. First car was dispatched at 3:07 p.m. At 3:08 p.m., the first two officers that were driving along Alameda spotted the individual walking northbound on Platte River Drive from Alameda, putting him in the 200 block south, walking northbound. The officers positioned their car on that street, stopped the car, got out, and verbally challenged the individual to put his hands up. The individual did not respond, continued to walk northbound. At that time, the officers moved their car up a little further in order to position themselves better. The individual then stopped and turned towards the officers. They then stopped their car, exited the car, and prepared tactically with their weapons, and again challenged the individual to drop the weapon. The individual was described as removing the two officers, let me backtrack. Two officers, when they saw the individual, they determined that it was an assault rifle that was slung on the back. He then removed it from a sling position into a position with the muzzle facing the officers. They described the muzzle as coming in an upward trajectory, at which time they fired their weapons. Two officers fired their weapons, striking the individual. He went down to the ground. They then approached. At that time, two other officers had arrived on scene. All four officers went up, secured the weapon, and then started to render aid. They started to look for any types of wounds on the individual to which they could apply first aid and help stop the bleeding. Fortunately for us, there was an ambulance within a block. The ambulance responded to the scene and shortly after transported the individual to the hospital. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. The timeline is 3:05 p.m. Call comes into dispatch. 3:07 p.m. officers dispatch to the call. 3:08 p.m. officers indicate that they spotted the individual. At 3:09 p.m. they radio that the shots are fired and the party is down. And at 3:12 p.m. the individual is loaded on an ambulance headed to the hospital. The individual's been identified as Shannon Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, date of birth 2/27/92. This is a multi-agency investigation. It's monitored by both the Independent Monitor's Office and the Denver District Attorney's Office. We ask that if any individuals have any information regarding this incident or any type of video or potentially witness this, that they come forward and communicate to us through Crime Stoppers. So with that, I'll leave it open for questions. Yes?
So isn't this the fourth incident that had an officer-involved shooting this May?
It is.
What do you think is going on this month? Wasn't the last one last December?
Right. There's no predictability around these. We've had times, even last year, where we had three in short proximity to one another, that officers were involved in shootings, and then you have a gap. So there's no predictability. None of them are connected. And geographically, they've all been kind of in one part of town, but there is nothing to lead us to believe that there's any sort of trends or anything that's leading to this. So there's really no real answer for that.
And officers
Not that we're aware of. I mean, you always have to be vigilant, and, you know, I think just in, based on what we went through the past year, we understand that there is definitely some aggressive feelings, you know, towards our profession, and I think officers are always vigilant and conscious of that, but I think we're trained to always be aware of things around us and just to be careful in how we operate. And, you know, and I'm glad you bring this up, because this is really, it does play a toll on officers. I think the psychology of being involved in an incident like this, it does ride hard on officers. And that's why we have a protocol in place to help the officers reintegrate back into patrol once they're involved in one of these types of incidents.
How many shots did officers fire?
That's part of the investigation, but 2 officers did fire their weapons.
Was the weapon loaded, the assault rifle?
There were rounds in the magazine, yes.
Do you have information about whether he possessed the weapon legally?
We don't know, we do not know that yet. We're trying to determine how that weapon was accessed. Anything else? Was there anybody on the phone or anything like? Okay. Okay, thank you.